Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm DJ OG1, and welcome to the second day of the Portland Black Music Expo. We're excited. Yesterday's panel was very amazing, and shout out to all the panelists. They contributed to giving so much wisdom and knowledge. And so we're excited about today's panel because it is about the business of music. And so I'm going to turn it over to a very special guest, a very close friend of mine. He's like a brother to me, a staple here in the Portland area. He will be moderating the discussion day with a panel of just incredible and knowledgeable guests. So I want to bring to the panel and introduce you to DJ Klyph. And let's go. Well, welcome. DJ Klyph, are you there? You ready to go? See, we have a few more guests that are tapping in. All right. DJ Klyph.
Yes.
It is
Thank
your
you so
show,
much,
my brother. It's your show.
Thanks, man. Look, I just want to say how excited I am for this opportunity, man. The Portland Black Music Expo, the first annual. It's first of all, it's such an honor to be a part of this situation, man, and to represent just a part of the Portland music scene. Really excited for everybody who's out there checking in, tuning in, and yeah, we're excited to have this amazing group of individuals share this panel with us. So hopefully, whether you're checked in via the main page at Portland, that's where you should be. You should be at portlandblackmusicexpo.com. But if you're on the Holocene Twitch situation or the OG1 Twitch situation, tap in. But call your people, man. Let them know that this is where they should be for the next hour, because we have some pearls that we're really excited to share with you folk. But I am definitely not alone. Really excited, like I said, to be able to share this platform with some amazing people. So I want to introduce our guest panelists. We're going to start off with the gentleman who's recently had a little bit of success that we've all been celebrating, like on a really big stage. He goes by the name of The Sauce, also known as Wow Jones. He's a music producer, music director, and he's a CEO of Boss Academy. You may or may not know that he's a music director for Post Malone, who just won 9 Billboard Music Awards, like 9. So that's something to definitely celebrate. So we're really excited to have him on the panel with us here at the Portland Black Music Expo. The Sauce, Wow Jones, is in the building.
Glad to be here.
Thank you so much for being here, brother. Also on the panel, we have a young lady who I've had an opportunity to build with over a number of years. Just a wonderful human being, man, with a great heart, has done a lot to just to be an advocate for the Portland music scene, even created specific small platforms and focus groups for the Black music scene here in Portland. She is the executive director of Music Portland, has done an amazing job of just pulling people together and really making things happen. And we're really excited to have her on this panel and get her input on how we can continue to move this thing forward when we talk about growing the business of music here in Portland. So help me welcome Miss Mira McLaughlin. And then Mira, we got to make sure we get your mic unmuted. And there she is.
There we are. Thanks so much for having us. Yeah, excited to be a part of the conversation.
Absolutely. Also on the panel, man, excited to have an opportunity to chat with this gentleman who's done some pretty amazing work when I had, I went in and tried to do my research and see, who was doing what and everything that everybody's doing, and really blown away by the work that this gentleman has done and continues to do in a way that I think we don't often see when we think about business in terms of giving advice and giving suggestions and giving tips on how people can better do what they do. He is a songwriter. He does music placement in film and television on some of the shows that you've seen and the movies that you've seen and you really enjoyed. And so it's really a blessing and an honor to have him be a part of this panel here in Portland. So help me welcome to the Portland Black Music Expo Business of Music panel, Mr. Adam McInnes. There it is.
What's going on, everyone? I'm happy to be here too. This is good. This is good stuff. This is kind of stuff we all need.
100%, man. 100%. So thank you everybody for being here, man. We may have another couple of guests who tap in, but we want to go ahead and get started. So I have a couple of questions, but anyone who listens to any of the things that I've done knows that, man, I'm all about conversation and just building. So let's just all kind of sit back and share and build into this situation. So as I started off talking about WOW and the work that you've done and just the amazing things that you've done on such a grand scale. I wanted to start off asking a question about artists who are building their brand locally, who have a desire to do more, to be on bigger stages. And when we look at some of the things that you're celebrated for in terms of taking sounds that sometimes are part of a genre, we're going to talk about hip hop in particular, and put that on bigger stages and have that translate so smoothly and celebrated. What would be something that you would say an artist can focus on to move what they're doing from a local feel or from a local mindset and build in towards something that's bigger and grander?
Good question. Yeah, in my opinion, I think that really network is key. Location is key. So if you don't physically move to a city where the business is thriving in that way, it's really good to build relationships over the internet, because there are a lot of dope musicians and dope producers all over the world, but it's about who you know and who knows you, how and why you know them, and make sure that relationship is, intact, is genuine, non-pretentious, and most of the time, that kind of cream always rises to the top, because everybody's dope, but everybody's doesn't have that thing. So that's what I would advise, just working on your network skills.
No doubt. I see that we have our final panelist has tapped in. So I gotta make sure that we introduce him real proper. This is a gentleman who, I'm gonna just keep it 100 with y'all. This is the homie. We go back. We go way, way back. And just have had an opportunity to build in different fashions over the years. Really grateful to be able to know there's certain cats you feel like it's so dope to me to be able to have this dude's telephone number in my phone and I can pick it up and call him or reach out and just build. And so it's a real pleasure to have watched his career grown and then to have him on this panel. He represents Portland in a really, really big way. He goes by the name of Easy McCoy. What's good with you, man?
See, what up, though? I'm in the building, man. I didn't know if y'all could see me or not, though. I didn't get shot. Can they see me?
I could see. I had to switch my situation, so now I can see everybody. That was on me.
Yeah, it's beautiful, though. Yeah, my man. What's up, though?
Man, look.
What's up? Wow, what up?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot your name at the top, but what up, though?
Mira building Music Portland. So yeah, man, we were just getting in talking about sort of transitioning from sort of a local feel into working on a grander scale. And Easy, this is a good opportunity for me to ask you that. So like I said, I've known you for a number of years, man, and I've had an opportunity to see what you've done grow. And I can remember having conversations with you. I remember one conversation in particular when I was a video game head and I was playing, or it was either playing video games or I was watching NBA, TNT. And I heard this joint come on and I was like, yo, that's Easy. And I hit you up and I was like, bro, how, what's going on? Cause I hadn't seen you perform. I hadn't really seen you, but so in my mind, you went from a cat who I knew who was doing stuff in the city to a cat who was doing stuff that was reaching a wider audience. So sort of that same sort of idea and concept that Wow and I were just talking about, how did you do that? How did you move from the artists that people in Portland knew that would perform and this, that, and the third to working on that grand scale?
I went there. I had to go to certain areas. You know what I'm saying? I had to spend some money. I had to take some time and be like, all right, I'm finna go here. Or I just had to reach out to people and at the end of the day, make sure the music was quality though. Like I got turned down a lot though. Don't think it just happened. The people like, nah, that ain't gonna work.
Right.
Nah, that ain't gonna work. Nah, that ain't gonna work. Like a lot of times. So it wasn't like, oh, it just happened either. There was behind the scenes where I was getting at companies for 5-6 years. And they like, no. I'm like no, none of this. Like, nah, it don't work. So I think it was cultivating that too, my craft, and then actually going to places and meeting people and building relationships. But just like you say, being solid too. Mm-hmm. Even if we ain't do no music for a couple of years, we just build a relationship. But when it came time to work, they was like, oh yeah, he always beneficial. Oh yeah, I want to work with him because whatever he's doing it right now. So, but some artists, man, you got to get about your city, man. You can't just be sitting in your city thinking you're gonna meet everybody you need to meet. It's not gonna happen. And sending emails and conversations on phones honestly might not get you the plug either all the time. Yeah, I want to touch it. I want to see you shaking somebody's hand, having dinner or something, or in the studio might get you way further than just sending emails. How many emails you think they send in a day anyway?
Thanks.
100%. Mira, I think you had something to add to that.
Yeah, what's interesting is how many of Portland's Black artists go other places to find success. You know, right. Portland on the white side of the house really celebrates the idea that there's this pipeline that supports emerging artists and sort of helps evolve them, helps them figure out what works and what doesn't work with engaged crowds. That hasn't been available to the Black music community. You guys have had to jump from, you know, a subset exposure in your hometown to national exposure, and that's a hard jump. And I think it leaves a lot of people out that don't have the resources to go on and find things. So what we spend our time on is looking at why is this music ecology not supporting people as they should in all genres, you know, and the fact that venues are not representing Black music as much as it is here in Excellence, you know, is not entirely just because of, you know, systemic racism or anything else. It's because of systems, you know, and it's because of a long history. And what we work on in the unsexy back scene way is identifying what are those real impediments, you know, what is true about redlining at venues in the insurance space that keep venues from doing it, or, you know, a lack of opportunity in booking. There's a bunch of different things that happen systemically in Portland that force the situation that there is. But I'm excited to help reduce those impediments so we get more of that pipeline effect, because I think we'll get a lot more amazing artists moving through a Portland ecosystem and then beyond to greater things.
100%. I want to touch on something that that I think is, I think we're seeing people talk more about, and something that you said, Easy, made me think about it. And really what you said, Mira, even drove it home even more. With everything that we're experiencing right now, something that is a part of that is the mental drain, the mental strain. And I think sometimes artists, when they get a lot of those no's that you refer to, Easy, or when they run into those obstacles that you talked about, Mira, it is very discouraging. But I wanted to, it's kind of funny, man. It's sort of an aside, I guess. But Adam, when I was reading through your timeline, you quoted something. It may have been something that you reposted, and I'm gonna misquote it, but it was something that was Michael Jordan said, something to the effect of, "I can fail over and over, but you know what I'm talking about."
I don't know the exact quote, but I mean, I would say this about anyone who's pursuing a business, because that's what this is, but it's right. Based on our talent and our craft. But like what we're talking before is like, it's not just talent, you know, it's about your network, it's about your work ethic. There's all these different foundational building blocks that you have to have in anything to be successful. But the way they propose it on all the TV shows and movies when we're growing up is like, you're going to have a song, you're going to give it to somebody, and then your career is going to blow up. So right. A lot of people enter into an industry with a delusional understanding of how it works. And then whenever they hit a roadblock, they blame the industry or they play victim. And the reality about it is that you only become a master when you know how to not make any more mistakes in anything. So like, if you're going to, like so Easy saying, like, we probably all have heard the word no so many times. So we said, okay, if you're saying no, tell me what would make you say yes. And then we figured that out and we put some of that in. Now we're going to put a little bit more better mix on the quality of the song, or the lyrics going to be a little better in the next song, or the melody is going to be even catchier. So we heard no, so we found the yes. Where some people hear no and they close up. And I think the people who are really going to make success in anything are the ones who are like kind of like writing the recipe, going, tell me no, but tell me why you'll say yes next time. And then you start to build those things that becomes in a compound interest.
100%.
Yeah. Also, to add to that, I feel like musicians, we're out of all, how do I want to word this? Basketball players, they practice, they after game, before game, off season. Barbers go to barber school. Tailors go, like lawyers go through 8 and 9 years. Music people are the only people that want it so fast. They don't count their journey as practice. They don't count their journey. They make one beat and then they want to get a check. They don't think to myself, let me make 10,000 beats and then your 10,001 beat is really your first beat. They don't look at the practice time or, like Easy said, honing your craft. And I feel like it's our duty to actually change that narrative and help artists manage their expectations, because I mean, you will get on one day, we get it, but you have to put the work in, you have to practice, you know. LeBron didn't become LeBron just by just shooting one shot and he thinking he on, you know. High school, college, 3 teams, you feel me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was want to jump on you on that too, because it's interesting. It's any industry that's ego focused, that's where that becomes. So modeling, acting, and music. And that's the reason why they're so interchangeable. It's because people are getting really good at pretending. And the scary part is they're so good at making the Instagram look good, but inside their house, they're not really good. And it could be good mentally, physically, spiritually, relationships with people, like it's not good. Their music, not good, but they get really good at putting up the front. So whenever they can get that, you know, that one shot, because I talk to people too, I'm like I started off doing karate when I was really young, so I was in martial arts. We had to go through the belt system. So like I had to get better before I got the other belt. There was no jumping steps. And if I was going to compete, I had to beat the other guy. There was not like good for coming out. You have to beat the other person. And in music industry, there's so many people who are just like, well, if I'm sitting close to someone who's winning, I'm winning. I'm like, that's not how it works.
The other thing, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
But the other thing I would like, and people have mentioned the sports industry, and it's true, there are superstars in the sports industries who have put in a hell of a lot of work to perfect what they do, but even that is not enough either, because it's a business where it's profit driven. It's, you know, largely corporate giants controlling a lot of it, and you know, there's a lot of tokenization, but there's very little representation at the executive power level of these things. And I think it's important for artists to understand they are a business. It does take work, and that they have to be vigilant and, you know, transparent with themselves about what the impediments are, and make sure they're involved in helping to kind of get through them, and join together with other artists to know that we remove impediments, everybody's talent is going to have a better chance.
Nice.
100%. When we think about,
my bad.
No, go ahead.
My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you said something so good, and the part starts with teaching. You know, it kind of starts with what the reason why we're all here, because I'm just going to keep it real. Like, there's colleges that I've been the mentor, quote unquote, where they hired me to come in and then asked me to grade the students based on their performance of like their showcase or like their beats. And I've had these moments where, and I just do this one where when someone asks me a question that I think is complete nonsense, I just ask it back to them. So like I went to this one college and I said, hey, who's the teacher who teaches songwriting here? And the lady said the guy's name. And I said, name me a song I would know of his. And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, what do you mean? What do I mean? Because if you got someone, and these kids are paying $20,000 a year to come here, you got 50 students in the class, that's $1 million a year right now. And I'm asking you who's the songwriting teacher. You can't even name me a credit that the person has done. So that means there's this mindset of college-based things where nurses are teaching people how to become doctors. Right. That's not how it works in anything. So if you're not learning from another master, you're not going to become a master unless you just surround yourself with a lot of people, right? But people are spending so much money to learn from someone who's never done it. It makes no sense. And yet they put these kids out in the real world. And I have people come to my studio from Berkeley, and they think that's going to get them the job. I'm like, no, I got to see what you can do. if you can't do it, I don't care if you spend $250,000 at college. That doesn't mean nothing to me. That means something to you and to your family, but not to me in the studio.
100%. When we look at the Portland music scene, one of the areas that I think I have been able to see really what you just described is the stuff that you've done, Easy, with a lot of local, I shouldn't say a lot, with select Portland artists. Every once in a while, there'll be a photo that pops up of you in the studio working with another local artist. I think most recently, I saw you in the studio with Portland-based artist Rashid Jamal. And so you are an individual who has, again, paved the path, learned the system, found the way, and now you are reaching to other people in Portland and inviting them in. But like I said, that's not hey, everybody come in. Obviously, just like Adam said, people have to show their worth, right? They have to show that it's not just I'm good, so put me on. So my question is, Easy, as we're looking at, as local Portland artists are looking at trying to make that next step in the business of music, how do artists get into that room with you? How do they make that next move to connect with someone who has excelled, who is the master of where they are at that point?
I mean, for me, like when I link with anybody, it's attitude, to be honest. Like, and then I always ask them, like, man, you ready? Like, you willing to put like 3 years in before you even get a sync? If that's what you really want to do, it might take you 3 years, bro. You might do 100 records. Like that, you might do 30 records. Me and Adam have done a lot of records. So it's like, you might have to do this, and it's an attitude thing. Like, and it's just kind of how you move. And I think your attitude, who you're around, like, are you serious? Some people want to do music just to get at all the work. Female, notoriety like that. Some people like, nah, bro, like, I'm serious. I got my business in order, like on my own. You know what I mean? Like, I got this right. I done talk to dudes that don't even got ASCAP writers. And like, yo, I want to do what you do. I'm like, man, like, bro, that's like the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? That's like the bottom, paying that little $50 and getting set up and just, you know what I mean? Like, so little things like that. And I think it's just an attitude thing for me, and like a work ethic. Like, you got to be really relentless. I don't really want to link up with everybody from the town like that, to be honest, because everybody's not focused like that. Everybody just want to do it because they like, oh, you getting paid, so I want to do what you do. Right. I'm like, bro, you think I just got paid? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how many times I had to go to LA back and forth? I mean, me and Adam, what we got, like 20-something songs? I'm still paying for studio time to do that wasn't free. He linking, they mixing, we still doing, like, what you talking about? Like, it ain't just that easy to make money. Mm-hmm. Like that, like people just think. So when people get caught up with the whole money thing, you lost me. I'm lost. I'm completely oblivious to what you're talking about, because obviously it's a lot deeper than that.
So let me ask this. So you mentioned that, and I think that that's important. I think that we show that we value things by the things that we put our resources behind, whether it's time, money, whatever the case may be. Right. So some people will say, well, that's an obstacle for me, for a lot of reasons. And sometimes it is a true obstacle. One of the things that I wanted to ask was, Mira, as you're executive directing, Music Portland, there are ways for people to access funds. That you folks are working on that, but people need to be able to tap into to understand that. So the question is, how can Portland artists get funding to do the things that Easy's talking about, to pay for studio time, to pay producers, to pay for the time of these individuals here who are donating their time, who are willing to help, but not just give away.
Can I say one thing before she asks, though? Before you do that, man, come on, man. You depending on Music of Portland to pay for your studio time, for your work? First of all, bro, no. We not doing that. Because I ain't have to depend on that. I had to work and figure out how to go get it. So if you're depending on her to do it for you, you're not serious. Like, if they got some extra that they can help on top of something, but I'm not finna depend on her to do nothing. I'm not finna depend on you to do nothing. Adam?
Let me play that back, though. Let me play that back, because in Portland right now, it's really interesting. Portland is this town where every single grant program, millions of dollars of CARES money flowed through this city. Every single grant initiative underscored the fact that it was prioritizing BIPOC businesses, BIPOC artists, except when you look at the actual grant process and the language within the grant application and the people that are populating the review panels, they don't understand half of what happens in some of the genres that you guys represent. They're like, well, no, we don't want a studio producer and somebody that hosts a fundraiser. No, We want artists, like even down to language. Some of the stuff that we're doing is trying to break down the barriers that exist, because this is a lily white town, in all the things that they have good intentions, that they want to support artist projects and BIPOC artist projects and music projects, but they don't understand it. And they're only recently coming to understand that for-profit music as a going concern has absolutely changed. You know, it used to be you could actually make money on your media, you know, on actually physical media. That doesn't exist really anymore. So everything is changing. And I think the city has too long looked at the arts as traditional sort of classical music and dance and theater, and not popular music. And we're working really hard to make sure that changes. I agree, you got to work for what you get. But I do think that there is no reason that a experimental cellist who's going to play a piece for, you know, 100 people total is more worthy of grant funding than somebody who is creating truly populist art.
I feel that too, though.
Yeah, so that's where we fit into it. I got no money myself, of course, but
I'm talking about I mean, I take some of that money too if y'all's giving it. I'm saying I'll take it, but I'm gonna get it myself too, though.
Yeah, I'm feeling like the city could probably take responsibility with building platforms for artists, you know, like self-made guys like yourself. I mean, I couldn't imagine getting a check from the city for something like studio time, but if you want to host an event and make a way for artists to come in and showcase their talents on your dime, that would be admirable, you know. And I understand how the grant thing works. It might need to go to a certain company and in certain ways that the money flow. But I do think it's the city's responsibility to at least provide a platform for young ones to get their dreams out.
No doubt. So as we look at the changes that we are all experiencing right now, we were talking a little bit before off mic before we started the session, just about how things seem to be possibly opening up slowly. Opportunities are starting to come up again. Opportunities to do some performances with the Black Music Expo later on this evening. We're going to be doing some live streaming from a live venue. So as that continues to blossom and grow, I was wondering, what do you feel like artists need to be putting into place right now in preparation for that, right? Because that's the goal, right? That's the goal. I've created this art. I want to share it with my audience in a live fashion. So what are 3 things that artists should do starting right now that they should have been working on, but starting right now in preparation for getting access to these venues again?
I mean, I don't know the direct protocol of what's best in Portland, so to say. Mm-hmm. But I will say if artists are not focusing on sync or just, you know, the way I look at music is this. Yes, you can tour and yes, you can get in front of people and that's great. But we all know that touring is not the biggest things. We know a lot of people go on tour and they lose money going on tour. So for me, whenever the conversation is about touring and live shows, I'm like, yeah, it's good. You get a good fan base. You have a great song that's supportive, or you have a cult-like following. That will work. But I've seen people be opening acts and they lose $35,000 a tour. So where I look at it is like, where's the energy going? And right now, it's more about looking at, because energy is always going to go somewhere. So it's like everyone's inside. Okay, they're all watching TV shows. So get your songs in some video games. Like I just got a song this week on a huge trailer, you know, $75,000 for a minute song. The song is 1 minute long. People are like, you know, what's that?
Did I own it?
Okay. Nah, you weren't on this one. you know what to call it. Because you know what's funny? With me and Easy, that's what happens. Like, I'll see a song air, my mom will go, is that the one that you and Easy did? Because, like, we've done a bunch of records together on UFC, Billions trailers, you know, like MTV, all kinds of stuff. So the way I look at it is, where's the energy going? So if I know there's going to be 1 million people watching a video game, well, I want my song in that video game. Because then when I do play a show, I got everyone who plays that video game in my core demographic who knows that song. And so, perfect example, like people do 3-minute songs. That's cool. I do 1-minute songs because the person will listen to it 3 times. And I'll get 3 times the amount of Spotify. So I look at things differently because I'm like, well, Spotify is not paying people what we deserve anyway. Because the way I look at the way this business works is, like if I asked you, actually I asked you the question. So if I said you have to go a month without candles, what would you say, Klyph? Would you be okay with that? Month without candles.
I would hope that I would have electricity to
so you'd be okay with it?
Yeah.
Month without candles you can live without. Month without music.
Oh, no, thank you.
Okay, if I sold 1 million candles, I'd be worth more than the person who had 1 million people listen to their song. And we don't even need candles.
Right.
It doesn't make logical sense the way our business is broken down.
Right.
So it's more about like, yes, we can do things to, you know, get up your numbers, and I can go into Facebook analytics. I can break all that stuff down, Instagram algorithms and Facebook algorithms, and creating those platforms. Because listen, I will tell you this: if anyone wants a social dilemma, if you haven't seen on Netflix and it's showing you how analytics and how data is purchased, that is the future of music. I'm working with some of the biggest people in the world on this stuff right now. I'm creating the first company that actually does this for artists, where we hyper target and you own your data, and no one else in the world is doing this, because I'm working with the companies in London for doing musicians. I would say artists get really good at finding your demographic in your area, target marketing, promote some sort of show, and make sure that you're making, you know, revenue off of it. And you can, once you start getting it really close to that, they'll buy your song, they'll come to the show. But what I would do is do that on top of building your sync and people who are around the world demographics, so that way you're making residual income to afford the months where it's not going to be, because you can't play a show every week in your town.
Right.
So you got some downtime. So I would kind of do it from different angles as well.
So can you expound on that, just for folk who may not be familiar with the term sync? What is that?
So syncer is synchronization, the synchronization of audio to visual. So anything that's like TV show, movie, trailer, video game, promo, anything like that is going to work in the sync world. And depending on the level of the endeavor they're doing, like for instance, you get a commercial and it's from a $1 billion country. Like I got 4 commercials on BMW last year, right? So those commercials can be 6 figures alone, because it's a $1 billion brand. But then you could get someone on a sync who says MTV, and you're like, you only made like $500 in that because it's a reality show. So like there's a different part of the game, and some people just say, oh, I'm going to do sync. And I'm like, no. There's different parts of this, Easy knows, like there's different parts of this game where like one is cool, but the other one is like you can survive and you can provide, you can buy houses. Like it's a different world there. And you don't need a fan base. Like I have 2 artists that I represent, that I produce for, I write with, pitch all their music, and they started with 0 following, and within a year from me working with them, they were on some of the biggest things out there. They had easily cleared 3 or 4 or 5 syncs, and they started to build a fan base to when they then signed publishing deals. And they had enough leverage in the marketplace to go, well, I'm on Fast and Furious, I'm on Insatiable, I'm on Netflix, I'm on this, so now I want a pub deal, and I have some leverage in it, even though I have no fan base. It's the only part of the industry that allows you to do that. And so that's why I tell people, like, it's imperative to learn this stuff, because there's going to be more TV and film than ever before in our history coming up in the next 10 years. I mean, like, video games are just going up, TV shows are going up, more platforms are being released, and every one of these shows needs like 15 to 30 songs. So if you're not getting in it now, there's certain people like me and Easy who've been doing it for a while that are all going to be lined up with our guns blazing, and it's, you know, I would say if anyone who up and coming to really look at that, because I started in the sync game 10 years ago, and I've just seen it progress, and now it's looking back where like I have a full company, and it's like easy, like it's very easy to get placements. Like I'm not worried about if I'll land something. Sometimes I'll get 2 placements in a day, but it's because we've been stacking up for a while.
Right.
And you know, with that too, how you were saying, like you add value to your name, so now people just come to you for the records. They might not even search for nobody else. Hey, yo, I know Adam. Yo, Adam, I know you got records easy. I'm gonna say no. I got the first deals before anybody solicitate them with 100 different records from different. It's like, nah, we going to the Seahawks. They come to me now, or how we keep doing the Project Rock with the Rock, 2 records. They come to me to the point now, like, yo, I like this guy. I want to tag is because of who you know. So now he tagging me on his page, like, yo, Easy McCoy. You think about that, and that's about like relationships. So it's about when you build value and they know what your name is, you could be like, yo, we need Easy McCoy records, or we need these type of records. That's why we did a whole project of 20-something songs. And we're gonna shell them out to all the different companies and do different deals. And then, so we create assets. That's what I look at now. I create an asset when I record. It's different to me. I go in with a purpose. I did a song about Jingle Bell. That's an asset for me forever. That's probably gonna get used for some whatever it is. It could give me $5,000 a year. That's cool. But what if I got 100 songs doing that? You know what I'm saying?
To add on to what Easy, and here's the reason why it's a lot different to this side of the game, is because a lot of times when I was an artist working with labels and writing for other people, you can write a song that is like that. You're like, this song is fire, and everyone on the team is like, this gonna be the single, and you get all excited and you start getting ready, like, okay, I might buy this, I might get that, put some money away, and then that song for whatever reason doesn't get released. Well, what happens to that track? Sometimes it falls through the cracks, and then you pitch it to someone else, it falls through the cracks. It falls through the cracks. With Sync, every song I do is an asset. I don't got to worry about if it's going to fall through the cracks. And it happened a lot because I was working in Nashville for 3 years, and I was doing a lot of country hip hop records. And what's funny is, like, they don't even demo a song unless the publishers agree. So, like, you're writing a song, and they're like, okay, let me show them the work tape of the recording on, like, your phone. And if they like it, then they'll pay money to go in the studio. And I'm like, so I mean, if they don't like this song, we can't make money off of it? And they're like, no, my publisher has to agree. I'm like, get out of here. That's crazy that someone else is going to be in charge of if they like something that I already know I like. Like, that doesn't make sense.
But that's what's so interesting is like you said, it is the business of music, and it's the part that we don't always, we're not necessarily privy to, because we don't get to see that part of it. We get to see the finished product and not everything that happens behind the scenes.
They dropping gems though. They dropping gems on his Zoom.
100%.
Well, kind of what you're saying. So you said, like, no one's ever seen it. So I'm actually building something right now that is that. So I'm building a platform where artists, because I thought about the other day, I was like, when is the time, other than me being in the studio with, you know, amazing producers and writers and artists, did anyone ever see the song from start to finish? Like, when as a learner was I in the studio with Timbaland? You know, like, when did I ever see that? And like, you're like, you never have.
Right.
And so I'm creating a platform where people can come, and it's a membership based, and you can watch people literally from the start to the end. You see all their tricks. You see how they operate in the studio. You see how they're thinking. Because I think it's so important when you understand mindset, because then you can mimic why someone did something. Because they're like, okay, I'm going to tune this kick drum here, but here's why. Right. So and then I'm also bringing in people like who are expert negotiators. Like, there's a guy named Chris Voss, who's an FBI negotiator. He's on a bunch of YouTube stuff, if you see his name out. So, like, actually the guy who just walked past is one of the guys who works with Chris Voss. We're going to be putting negotiators in there to say, show them how to negotiate record contracts. Like, taking an FBI negotiator who's one of the top business people now, how would you do on this contract? So you can walk people through a different mindset instead of like the, please, sir, give me something. I feel like I am talented, to like, I'm a boss, and this is how I run my company. I have assets, and this is how I would negotiate. And so we're opening that up for people to learn this stuff, because you're right. I've never seen it. So I was like, we got to make it.
Yeah. Which I think is dope that you're talking about taking ownership and creating. And you mentioned Boss, and that was actually one of the things I wanted to talk about is Boss Academy, which is the new program that you're building, and creating opportunities for people, educate, just like you're talking about, educating people. Talk a little bit about that, because for some people that may be the avenue that they choose to take within the music business. They want to work on being in that creative space, or just providing opportunities or supporting that.
Yeah, well, I mean, my definition of boss is being able to have control of yourself, not necessarily controlling other people.
Exactly.
You know, it's not, you know, that's not what it's about. Can you enter into a situation comfortably, knowing that you can walk away from it if you had to, you know, in the music business. And so it's really like just a loose term. We call it Boss Academy, but we really pride ourselves with instilling that energy into people that hone your craft, learn your thing, and be in control of you. And everybody's a boss, and be in control of your surroundings and your environment at all times, you know, not versus somebody controlling you. You know, we don't want that. You know, somebody else is a boss, but you're not. But when you control your energy, then you're the boss of your universe, and then boom, you know.
Oh, that's what's up, man. So powerful and encouraging, and I think that's one of the things that, especially in the times in which we're living, we do need that. We do need to have that, that encouragement, that direction of, no, I can move forward. I can do more. I can be more than someone who is working under the auspices of the big.
Especially when you walk into the meetings too. I'm walking to the meetings soft. You be walking into the meetings, can you help me? You know, walk into the meeting and say, look, I'm the answer. You the company. Without artists like me, how your company gonna thrive? And if you don't want this, I go to another company who want it. I'm not exclusively with you. I just feel like that need to be the attitude of the culture. Like, if you dope, No, you dope, man, but don't let nobody sit there and tell you about your craft and tell you. Like, I done had arguments like, who's the A&Rs listening to my music telling me that ain't dope? You got these young kids that ain't never been through no struggle telling me what I said wasn't passionate. I'm not hearing that. So I'll take this and I'm gonna move this over here because I'm not gonna come to y'all with my hand out and let you slap it down. And I'll say, I'll take whatever you give me. Them days is done. Like, you see, I'm passionate about that because they come to be mad at me because I'm like, look, let's get the business right, man. And if y'all don't want it, and I take it, and then they say, well, we upset that you went and worked with somebody else. You're not finna throw my work in the trash and tell me.
We definitely had to understand that the industry, it's no diss, it's just that they're not in the culture like that. We have to recognize it for what it is. They are a business platform. Right. And you have to walk in that room knowing that they're offering something different from what you're offering. But they need you like you may need them. You might not need them in 2020, but you may need them, and you have to walk in the room knowing that, you know.
Right. That's powerful. That's so powerful.
And I think, oh my bad.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think part of also one of the things is because as artists, we don't. It's very rare that we have people around us who also check us. Like even friends sometimes. Like I think a good friend is someone who will check you, right? Yeah. But there's a lot of people who just say, there's a lot of yes men and yes women around who like, you can see someone's doing something that don't make sense and the girls are like, oh, you go girl. And you're like, no, that's not good. That's not a good look. Like you need to actually be practicing. Or like the guy who's like, I'm a boss. And you're like, but what do you do? Do you have employees? Can you delegate? Do you have your business right? But they just like hashtag stuff. And so there's this part that if people get enough likes, which to me are just clapping because people want claps all the time, you know, you want to feel something, but you're not that yet. And a lot of times there's these slogans that don't make any logical sense, that the only people who repeat them are people who believe the stuff that they just want to say something in the moment. So they'll say stuff like happy wife, happy life. And I'm like, no, happy people, happy life. You know, or someone's like, you got to fake it till you make it. No, you got to be dope to make it.
Right.
And like, you know, people say something and I'm like, that's not even real. You're just repeating some other nonsense to say something in the moment. So I think actually inspiring people to go, listen, the one thing that I've learned is that as simple as a quote is, the more knowledge you have, the more power. That is reality. If you know your DAW, if you know how to produce, if you know how to write songs, if you know the craft of what you're doing, that is knowledge, that is power, that is value. And a lot of people aren't going after really mastering that thing. They want to go in like 65%, but they want 100% return. Mm-hmm. And it's because they've never studied business. So like, I'm just saying this as I think if people just did this in general, and especially with us, you know, thinking back if I was younger, I wish someone sat me down and be like, yo, read a book on entrepreneurship. Just read that book, because anything you do, if you took some courses in entrepreneurship, you can put it in anything. And if you look at some of these people who are in the music industry, you know, some of them, their parents, they're entrepreneurs. They just don't tell you. They don't tell you that Taylor Swift was already a multimillionaire. They don't tell you Lady Gaga's dad was. They don't tell you Adam Levine's dad was. They don't tell you that these people were already doing stuff for like many years, and people just act like they just got there. Right. And so the way it's played is like, you gotta struggle, you gotta do this. I'm like, what? I can literally go down the list of people who are already multimillionaires. Before Jermaine Dupri's dad was the president of Columbia. Now you can go through this list and realize people learned from other people who knew what they were doing. So I think opening up a place that, like, especially in inner cities, where, and I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet, where we're not just teaching people free business courses to change our culture. Like, to me, that's mind-blowing. There's a lot of people talking about change, but I'm like, well, then why are all not the African Americans who have millions of dollars, why are we not opening free entrepreneurship schools? Because we all know after you get to a certain tax bracket, we know how it works. Right. And so it's weird to me that conversation is not a normal conversation.
I got something to say about our town specifically. There's a weird creative dynamism in most of the music community. I'd be eager to hear if it's true here, where it's like creativity and ambition kind of feel mutually exclusive. If people are like, oh, that guy's hustling too much, he can't be that good. You know, it's this weird self-defeating kind of attitude. And, you know, I don't know if that's true necessarily in hip hop as much, but it's definitely true in other parts. And people are sort of weirdly satisfied being Portland famous. But the town is definitely, you know that, yeah. So, yeah. But definitely Portland doesn't have an anchor genre like Nashville or Austin or Chicago or New Orleans. We are known for independent thinking and sort of genre blurring and doing things that, God, nobody's done that before, including the way that we establish entrepreneurial endeavors. You know, like I hear right now with Boss Academy and the work that you're doing, Adam, it's like, that's the reason CD Baby's here. They thought of an entirely different way of doing something that had always been done one way. So in both business and in the musical creation, I think we've got this incredible richness here. And the goal too is to make sure, I'm loving hearing everybody talk about the fact that if you're not in music to actually make a living out of being in music, you're a hobbyist, and God bless you. But stop acting as if, you know, you're something else, because you're not. And taking advantage of business opportunities. And, you know, I bemoaned, I've been doing it for 2 years, but trying to bring a trade association, an industry advocacy group to Portland in a town where musicians don't consider themselves part of the industry. You know, they're like, well, what about me? You're going, no, you're business people. Everybody's a business person. You need networked in a very white town. That's got to be cross-channel. You've got to be talking to everybody. If you want to start a business, you need to build coalitions across the table and make sure that you're true to yourself and don't let Portland or anybody else dilute your voice, because we are who we are. But you got to be in it. And I'd love for people to come in and join and make sure that all of your voices are in Music Portland, so the stuff we're working on is always tuned to the right frequency.
It's interesting that, so we're talking about, you know, Portland Black music, and we've heard a lot of great content about the creators, but we know that music is more than the creatives, right? There was an article or it was actually a whole magazine issue of Vortex magazine dedicated to manufacturers, and there are manufacturers in Portland, but limited, if any, of people of color. And so as we think about Portland Black music, it is the creatives, it is the producers and the artists, but what about those who have a desire to do other work in other aspects of the Portland music scene? And one of the things that I'm taking away from this is something that you said, Adam, is, you know, you've got to figure out the business part of it. Once you get that, you can apply it to whatever you want to do, right? Find what you're good at. What is your gift? Hone your gift. But then if you want to do it as a business and not as a hobby, these are the things that you need to apply to that. Is that a fair way to sort of encapsulate what we've been talking about?
Yes, sir.
Word up. Word.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of the difference between, you know, how there's only 2% of people in the world who control all the money.
Yeah.
That's the difference. 2% of people have figured out you have to actually learn the shit you're talking about at a high level. In every single room, there's going to be a certain amount of people who really know what they're talking about. And then the rest are just going to be repeating what each other say. Fake it till you make it. Like, they say all this stuff. And that 98% talk, and they drama, and they gossip, and they do all this stuff. And that 2% are sitting back, and sometimes you don't even know who the 2% is. Because that 2% is the one selling you the idea that all this is a good idea.
Right.
And so, you know, it's like, after a certain while, I start looking back and going, where's the money going? Because if the quietest person in the room is the person with all the money, that's why they're quiet. Because they're letting everyone else do this and not understand what they're doing. Oh, rush into the industry. Yeah, go ahead, do it. Because then we can take advantage of you once you do it. Because you're not reading your contract, right? Cool. Well, on page 17, we're going to sneak something in there because you just want to talk on Instagram. This is how this stuff is working. And that's why it's imperative that we understand it so we can teach the people younger than us, because it wasn't taught to most of us. I mean, I know it wasn't taught to me until I started sitting in these rooms and going, oh, that's how it's being played. Oh, gotcha. So I think the more people who come forward and start to build like what you're doing, building your own academies and building things that you can help. I know Nipsey Hussle's doing it, like building things that you can show other people the way. So that way, and I don't know how it is for you guys, but I remember for me coming up when I first started doing music and started taking it more professionally, I had like 10 people around me who were all trying to do music. One person was a beat maker, one person could produce, one person could play instruments, but they didn't treat it as seriously as I was. So then what happened is they would slowly fade away and they'd make up reasons. They'd play victim. They had big egos. Like all those things would happen. And then like 10 years later, you know, like I don't see them, but I know they're not doing music at the same level anymore. And then what happens is people like us start to connect, because then we move up and start to understand the game better. So it's all about just finding that knowledge, finding a good team, and staying away from people who play victim and play narcissism, because that thing always deads. It goes down. It's one of those things that, what's that, lemmings or something like that. They go and run off cliffs.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Is people are just like, oh, I'm gonna look just like them, and they run off a cliff. And you're like, but they're not actually really making money, and you don't know it. Like they got the money out of the ATM from their manager, then put it on Instagram, and then they give it back to the manager who put it back in the bank.
It's so, once again, it's so crazy to learn the things that we don't know, right? So let me ask this, man. So much knowledge, so much is there, so much to absorb. And thank you guys so much for being a part of this and sharing this knowledge.
Thank you.
One of the things, like I said, kind of doing my research, and I was looking at some of the stuff you do, Adam, but like we've talked about, each one of you, all of you have done in terms of giving out free information. I think that's something that we don't celebrate enough, right? We oftentimes we have this mindset that people who have had success want to keep it close to the vest. And you guys are showing that, no, that's not the case. We are willing to, but we have to know that my time is valuable. I will freely give of my time if I know you're serious about it, right? Yeah. So I'm going to ask each of you to, if you said, okay, people have tapped in, we've kind of sparked some interest. What would be the top thing from each of you that you would say, okay, everything that we talked about, this is the take home. This is the thing to write on your grease board. This is the thing to check into every single day, and understand that it may not be what you thought it was, right? Because what we get to see is the artist that I'm working with who just won the nine Billboard Awards, or we get to see the Seahawks video that's got my song on it, or we get to see I had a song in Netflix and film, or you get to see the things that all the behind the scenes stuff that was done, and as a result, now we have this group, this advocacy group coming together. But what's the thing that you say, this is your take home? This is your homework. And if we come back to Music Portland in 2021 and we have this panel and we say, okay, you had your homework. Who did the homework? What's the top thing from each of you? I'm going to start with you, Mira.
Fair. I got you. Yeah, I say get involved and be thinking not only about what you need to do for your own career, think about the bigger frame. Think about your musical peers and the people that amazing engineer that should totally be making gear because they're fitzing around with it, and figure out how we can help each other to raise everybody up to make obviously this region better. But let's lift each other up and let's stand together, because collectively we've got an incredible amount of power to make positive change. So musicportland.org, come and join. It's a free membership. And let's make some change.
That's what's up. Wow, same question, man. Like, what's the take home? All right, y'all, this is it. This is what I'm leaving you with. This is your pearl of wisdom that I'm giving you from the sauce.
Yeah, I would say find a mentor. Artists, let your egos down, find a mentor, and also be a mentor, because I find that when you get the information, and you want to stay sharp, but also when you pay it forward, it always takes care of you in the end. You may develop 5 minds that when you can't do it no more, they'll hold you up. And then when they pay it forward, then you have more of a support system. So I would say, find a mentor for the information, and also be willing to give the information.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Powerful. Easy.
I'll definitely, what I was saying, like a mentor. Find somebody like a mentor is always good. Like I said, the ego is the same thing, your ego. And work on making sure you're valuable. You know what I mean? Like, as an artist, whatever, producer, engineer, artist, like, you valuable. Like, whenever you bring something to the table, it's value, whether it's your conversation, a relationship you got, you know what I mean, the moves you making, you bringing value so people want to call on you. People know they can trust you. People know they can depend on you. You know what I'm saying? And that type of thing, I feel like it really, and like I said, wow really took everything. I also say pay it forward too. Always show love. Like, when you said we want to give it, of course I want to get a game. It was given to me. It's a lot of people that's like, show me love. Like, let me show you how to do this. Same way when they put me in the studio with him, like Tyler Bacon brought me to the studio. There's certain people that's like showing you, like, let me show you how to do it. So I'd be a fool to hold it all in and not give it back out. that's the way you stay blessed, and more opportunity just keeps coming for you. Like he said, it's always gonna work for you in the end.
Truth.
100%, 100%. Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Wow and I agree with Easy. So I'm gonna kind of sum it up with. So I have this thing that I broken down one day, and it's kind of like the commodity list. So kind of what Easy said about value, be a value to someone. So in our natural state here as being humans, we have certain commodities that are on the planet. If you know those commodities, you know when you're trading with something that you don't want to be trading with. So like, then I'll just go through them right quick. So knowledge, network, money, power, sex, talent, beauty, and time. Those are the only commodities. So if you're not talented, you're trading with something else. You just don't know what it is. It's either gonna be your money, your sex, your beauty, your network. If you say, well, I don't have money, I don't have network, I don't have knowledge, I don't have talent, you're trading with something else. So get good at learning how to become really valuable in all those things. And when you have a little bit of a network, you have a little bit of knowledge, you have a little bit of savings, you got your talent unlocked, you have these things, more people are going to want to work with you because they know you're of value. And I think just understanding that, so for me to say to anyone out there is like, play this part back, listen to that list I just said, and look at what you use to trade. Because if you know what you're using to trade, you know why you get stuck in certain situations. And you know why you're not excelling to others. Because everyone has a certain thing they're putting up front when they're trading. You got to know yourself. So I would write down that list, look at what I'm trading, and go, all right, I want to trade with some other stuff, so I might have to get more value in that thing so I can be more balanced out.
Nice.
Powerful stuff. Okay, finally, man, whenever I have platforms, it's always valuable and important to me to make sure that people have an opportunity to tap in. So I want to ask each of you to let people know if they're like, man, I really connected with what these folk are doing, and I want to connect with them more. Obviously, the easy way to do that is social media, websites, email, whatever the case may be. Any information that you can give so that people can tap in, not only just to follow you, but to support what you're doing, because that's what it's about. It's about building into one another as human beings. So, Adam, if people want to support what you're doing, man, what's the best and easiest way they can do that?
Yeah, sure. I give free information on an Instagram platform. It's pretty much the only platform you'll see me on. It's called @MusicIndustryContact. And then anyone who's serious, kind of like what Wow's doing, we have a private mentorship group that like has executives that come in. We have people from A&R, from Atlantic, from Universal, from sync companies, and they come in. They do demo critiques. It's a constantly moving thing. Easy's in it. He's one of the mentors. So it's a place where we have like 20 plus mentors from all over the business, but they're all serious. And other platinum artists are there. So that's called thebillboard500.com. So if you go to www.thebillboard500.com, you do have to apply to get in, because it's people who are serious. But if you got good music and you're really about your stuff, then this is the kind of group to get in, because it's worldwide.
That's what's up. Easy. How can people support your movement, man?
Keep watching TV, man. Keep watching TV, man. Watch movies, man. Just Easy McCoy. Though. I mean, Instagram, Easy McCoy. You can holler at me on that. Easy McCoy at Gmail if they want to, all that info, YouTube, everything. Twitter's under Easy McCoy. So yeah, and I always chat with everybody. I'm cool. Or the Billboard. You join the Billboard 500. I'm on there all the time. But I would say that's a great group. I mean, to work, and when you get creative, you got people who mix records. People that's willing to send you a record. They even doing records where man, let me give you 5% of the master. Okay, I'll mix that for you. So there's another way you might not have no money to mix, but you got a little connect. Well, let me give you 5% of the master. Can you mix my record? So forever, you get a percentage of the song. So, or you got songwriters, people helping you write, and like I said, the demo critiques. So yeah, we on there, the Billboard 500 for sure.
Dropping bombs. Wow, same thing, man. How can people support what you're doing, man?
Follow me on Instagram, Mr. Wow Jones, and I pretty much start there in my website, broadcasting all of the information and keeping people up to date on what's going on with me. And from there, we can branch off. But you can find me on IG, Mr. Wow Jones.
That's what's up. And Mira.
Yeah, musicportland.org. Check out the newsroom. You see a bunch of the stuff that we're doing. Everything what we do is to support artists, music businesses. We got the largest financial support in the nation to save our music venues. We got loading zones for a venue. We do a bunch of stuff. It's not the cool, sexy stuff. It's just the stuff that everybody needs. And we need people and their voices in there. Free membership, musicportland.org.
That's what's up. Listen, you guys, once again, this has been such an honor and a treat for me to be able to spend this time with you. And I know how valuable your time is. Thank you so much for being a part of the first annual Portland Music Expo. On behalf of myself, DJ OG1, and Tony Ozier, we truly, truly appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
All right.
Thanks for having us. Take care.
Absolutely. Everybody out there who's checked in, remember that it doesn't stop here. At 3 o'clock, we have our next panel. Your vote counts. It's a discussion on voting. We know how powerful our voices are, how important voting is for this year, for this election, both nationally and locally, because that's where we make real change, is the local level. So you definitely want to keep it locked right here at 3 p.m. We will be back for that panel discussion. Your vote counts. And then later on this evening at 6 p.m., we kick off the live music events. It's a part of the Portland Black Music Expo. Mic Check will be kicking off the event. You know how we do it. Mic Check Presents and Soul Clap are coming together. So we have a great night of music that's going to take you into the evening, and then we will continue on into Sunday. So keep it locked right here, portlandblackmusicexpo.com. Once again, to our panelists, thank you so much. God bless you. We love you. Until next time. Peace.
Thank you.